This is KTTC News.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Caitlin Alexander. Like yesterday, an excessive heat warning is in place for our viewing area today, and it certainly is uncomfortable out there. Chief Meteorologist Nick Jansen joins us live in the studio. Nick, please tell us the end is in sight.
Yeah, by the weekend, just in time for both Saturday and Sunday, we'll have high temperatures right back mid-70s. That will feel unbelievable compared to what it feels like outside currently. And we have a little comparison here with the temperature downtown. So that is taken at the Mayo helipad compared to RST. So 95 at the airport, 97 at the Mayo helipad. Notice those feeling conditions at 105 officially at the airport currently at this hour. Temperatures and heat index values across the region here. We're looking at those upper 90s and even getting into the triple digits for our actual air temperature. Looking at Osage, Austin, Preston, Winona at 104, where it feels like 111 currently in Winona. It feels like 105 here in Rochester and 106 in Austin, 99 currently in Mason City for that actual air temperature. Dew points a little different compared to what they were yesterday. Here in Rochester, we topped out our dew point, tied a record for the warmest dew point on record at RST in the month of August at 80 degrees. Notice our dew points today more or less in the mid and lower 70s and some upper 60s for our dew points. So losing some of that moisture content in the atmosphere, that's allowed those temperatures to warm a little bit more today compared to yesterday. Excessive heat warning still in effect until later on tonight. Some of us will have a heat advisory on the way tomorrow. Notice our heat index values here through the rest of the afternoon. We're still looking at least triple digits and then even the mid-90s by about 8 p.m. here later on tonight. We look towards tomorrow. We will have a heat advisory in effect for Olmsted County and Rochester, so all areas in that lightish orange there. That'll be a heat advisory through the daytime hours on Thursday. Excessive heat warning continues for areas in pink. That is all the way until 7 p.m. on Thursday. We will have some relief on the way by Friday and into the weekend. We'll track out the heat and cooler weather to come. That's coming up in your full First Alert forecast. Caitlin.
We're just hours away from one of the first events launching election 2024, the very first Republican candidates debate in Milwaukee. Our John Decker joins us from Fiserv Arena where the debate will be. He is our national political editor and White House correspondent. John, kind of a two-parter question to start. How important is this first debate for each candidate? And what topics do you expect the candidates to discuss this evening?
This is such an important debate. For many of those candidates on that debate stage, among those 8, it will be their first opportunity to make that first impression with voters who may not be familiar with them or what they've done in the private sector, in the case of Vivek Ramaswamy, or in the public sector as governor, for instance, Doug Burgum, who's the Republican governor of North Dakota. So you have that. It will also be an opportunity for them to make some movement in the polls because Donald Trump, the front runner, leads by double digits, and each of those 8 candidates are trying to cut into that lead. What will be the topics? Domestic policy, foreign policy. As far as domestic policy is concerned, Caitlin, you're talking about jobs, the economy, also inflation, and as it relates to foreign policy, certainly the war in Ukraine.
And John, you mentioned him, kind of a noticeable absence tonight. Former President Trump will not be attending tonight's event. What reason has he given for skipping it? And do you expect him to participate in any of the upcoming debates?
He has indicated that there's no reason for him to take part either in this debate or any of the debates that follow because he's so far ahead in the polls. And he said, why would I in any way try to disturb that lead? He's also indicated that people out there who will make their decision as to who should be the Republican nominee are familiar with his record at 4 years as president. I don't expect him to join these debates unless you see a movement in the polls for any of those 8 individuals who are challenging Donald Trump. If it gets within single digits for any of them, then you can expect Donald Trump to join these debates. But until that happens, he's going to remain on the sidelines.
John Decker in Milwaukee for us tonight. John, thanks for that report. In other news, Wagner leader Yevgeny Prigozhin is presumed dead after an airplane he was riding crashed in Russia today. The mercenary's name is on the passenger list of an airplane made by Brazilian aerospace company Embraer. The Embraer aircraft crashed near the village of Kazenkaino in the Tver region. It was flying between Moscow and St. Petersburg. Russian state media is reporting there are not believed to be any survivors among the 7 passengers and 3 crew members on board. Prigozhin gained international attention in June when he and paramilitary group Wagner led an uprising in Russia and began marching to Moscow. He eventually struck a deal with the Kremlin and retreated to Belarus. 10 people involved in a Rochester methamphetamine drug trafficking ring were sentenced today. According to court documents from September 2021 through February 2022, 41-year-old Jerry Lee Milliken led a large-scale trafficking ring throughout southeastern Minnesota. He and 9 co-conspirators organized the delivery of meth from Kansas City to the Rochester area. During this time, law enforcement took 80 pounds of meth from the group. All 10 of the defendants pleaded guilty. Milliken will spend nearly 20 years in prison. The other 9 received sentences ranging from 2.5 years to 15 years. Governor Tim Walz is announcing new appointments for the Minnesota Supreme Court. Walz appointed Justice Natalie Hudson to serve as Chief Justice for the Supreme Court. She will start in October after the retirement of Chief Justice Lori Gildea. According to Walz, Hudson is one of our state's most experienced jurists. She has a strong reputation as a leader and consensus builder. Walz also announced the appointment of Carl Procaccini to serve as Associate Justice. He will fill the vacancy that Justice Hudson once filled before her elevation to Chief Justice. Walz stated that Carl understands how legal decisions impact the lives of Minnesotans. There was no one more prepared for the rigors and challenges, he says, that come with this important position. There are some other things to think about if you live in Albert Lee, Rushford, Orinoco, St. Ansgar, or Austin. Peak energy alerts have been issued in all these towns beginning at 2 p.m. If you live here, you're encouraged to reduce energy usage. In Austin, the alert lasts until 8, but the alert ends around 6:30 everywhere else. It's the first day for the high schoolers in Mason City, and there's some new state laws when it comes to certain books in schools. The new law includes limitations on school and classroom library collections, requiring every book available to students be age-appropriate and free of any descriptions or visual depictions of a sex act, according to state codes. Once this passed, all public school districts had to comb through their libraries and get rid of any books that fit this category by the time the school year started. To help identify the books in their collection, Mason City school leaders used AI. How it works is the district compiled a master list of commonly challenged books, and then AI went through to determine if it contains a depiction of a sex act. School leaders want to stress that the AI was used as a starting point to help narrow down the collection and is part of a longer process.
We did use AI along with booklooks.org and along with other sites, along with different things we found on the internet as well, to help us come up with a process to try to sift through thousands of books as quickly as we could to try to be in the spirit of the law compliant when the day 1 of the school year starts.
A New Jersey Mike's Subs location opens today. The new location is open at 416 Crossroads Drive. It hosted a grand opening at 10 a.m. They have a fundraiser running from today until Sunday to support the Boys and Girls Club of Rochester. Customers who received a fundraising coupon before the opening can make a minimum $3 contribution to Boys and Girls Club of Rochester in exchange for a regular sub. Guests can place orders in-store or for pickup through the website or the Jersey Mike's app. The sub shop is known for its fresh sliced and grilled sub sandwiches. With temperatures scorching again today, Rochester residents are looking to stay out of the heat. The high summer temperatures have made the conditions much more difficult for people experiencing homelessness. Both the Rochester Salvation Army and the Landing have a number of services residents can seek out. The Salvation Army is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. They even serve lunch between 11:30 and 12:30. At 6, we'll take a deeper look at how these organizations are helping residents in Rochester. We know the trades are a vital part of our nation's economy. That's something Tom Overly has been focusing on in the past year in his series, Critical Careers.
Yeah, so the trades offer important services like construction, manufacturing, and electrical work that help to drive our economic growth in this country. It's especially important for young folks to learn about the hundreds of exciting opportunities in the trade field. That's what one local company is doing. Gauthier Industries in Rochester is building bridges with local high schools, allowing qualified students to test a trade with them. Tonight at 6, we're talking to a senior at Byron High with an interest in engineering. He's got a summer job at Gauthier, and under the right mentorship of a programming engineer, he's getting a rare chance to test drive this trade. And tonight at 10, we're going to meet others as well who are helping to build these bridges between the trades and the young people. So a great program at Gauthier, and excited to bring more details about what that looks like tonight at 6 and 10.
So important. Thank you, Tom.
You bet.
Well, a very special surprise for an Iowa woman who's a big fan of flash mobs. More than 80 dancers gathered outside her home over the weekend, all dancing to her favorite song. Todd Magel found out why that surprise was so meaningful.
A Hallmark town, we needed that flash mob.
Sandy Van Ostrand is a big fan of flash mobs, and Sunday night her dream came true. She watched on her driveway. First a few dancers, then one by one the group grew to more than 80 dancers, all dancing to Sandy's favorite song.
Then all of a sudden more people started coming in, and that's when I figured out that it was the flash mob.
Even though we couldn't get her down to Main Street, we brought the dance to her instead.
The look on her face, I mean, she was in shock.
Tanner Coder and Amber Olson had an important mission. They had a week to organize the flash mob. They didn't have a lot of time because Sandy Van Ostrand has cancer, terminal cancer, and she says time is running out.
For that many people to join in, and whether or not they knew me, was really special.
To be able to see the look in her eye and just know that her community is here, loves her and supports her, and will be here to take care of her family, it means the world.
Seeing your community step up and seeing everybody come together so fast and able to support Sandy during this time was unreal.
Olson had the idea and recruited Coder to teach the dancers their routine. They say it shows what kind of town Nevada is. Sandy Van Ostrand says she already knew.
It was definitely a huge bright spot. Not just in my day, not just in my week, but I mean really in my lifetime. To have all of these people that came and did this for me.
A very moving display there. Well, word that some January 6th committee transcripts may be being redacted for security purposes. Plus, the latest we're hearing from Pittsburgh, where a confrontation between a suspect and deputies has led to an eruption of gunfire. Also tracking this ongoing heat in your First Alert forecast. KTTC is following a shooting that happened in Pittsburgh that has involved hundreds of shots. The shooting happened as deputies tried to serve an eviction notice in the city's Garfield neighborhood. The suspect apparently opened fire with a military-style long rifle as deputies knocked on the door of a home in this usually quiet neighborhood. One deputy was hurt when he fell down escaping that gunfire, but so far no one has been shot. However, since the initial contact, hundreds of shots have been fired and 2 police drones have been shot down. Officers have shut down several blocks around the area and are working to evacuate nearby homes. The suspect, we just learned, is now dead after the 6-hour standoff. One man was on the phone with his daughter, who is at the home in the house behind where the shooter was firing, and waiting for help to arrive.
My adrenaline is rushing. I want to get her out of there, exit this area, and get to safety. This is one of the craziest things that's ever happened on this side of town.
Fortunately, he got word that she was with an officer and was safe. Some January 6th committee transcripts are reportedly being redacted for security purposes. That's according to GOP Congressman Barry Loudermilk. Loudermilk is a Georgia Republican who's overseeing the GOP-led investigation into the panel. He's previously raised concerns about not having all of its work product. The transcripts of 4 individuals who testified to the House Select Committee that investigated January 6th are still reportedly under review. White House Special Counsel to the President Richard Sauber said the White House expects to complete the review soon. A court in Moscow will consider whether to keep Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich in jail. He was arrested in March on allegations of spying. Since then, Russian authorities have kept him behind bars as he awaits trial. He's the first American reporter to be detained in Russia on spying accusations since the Cold War. Both Gershkovich and the Wall Street Journal deny the allegations. Tomorrow's hearing will be held behind closed doors. Russian state media says that due to classified materials in the case.
Here's your First Alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Johnson.
So, Same as yesterday.
Yeah, same as yesterday. Another first alert day here for today and again for tomorrow. And we've had those really hot temperatures here today, the warmest we've seen this calendar year. Let's take a look at yesterday because we did have some record-breaking temperatures yesterday, and we'll have some record-breaking temperatures again today once the high temperatures are set in stone for today's date. But looking at yesterday, Mason City, Austin, Winona, all setting a daytime record high temperatures for August 22nd. Here in Rochester, we were just at 93 yesterday, so we did not set a daily high temperature record. Today, though, we did set a record for our warm low temperature. I should say a record warm low temperature here for today. 77 degrees was that record for this morning. And once again, just those hot temperatures for today. So 97, our high temperature as of now in Rochester. Some of us getting into the 100s, so triple digits. Winona, La Crosse, Decorah, Prairie du Chien, Austin at 102, Waterloo at 105 here today. So those hot and muggy conditions, again, across the region. Outside currently, our Lewis and Netto live camera, 95 here in Rochester. Wind out of the west at 11 miles per hour. Dew points currently in the mid-70s. It feels like 105 at the airport at this hour. Temperatures here locally still in some triple digits. Osage at 103, Austin at 100, Preston in the triple digits, Winona, La Crosse all above 100. It's 100 in Decorah, and that's just the air temperature. Add on with the dew points in the mid-70s, we have those heat index values reaching into close to 105 to 110. Excessive heat warning still in place until later on tonight. That is for all southeast Minnesota, northeast Iowa. Tomorrow, temperatures slightly cooler, especially for those of us here in Rochester and north of I-90. We will transition into a heat advisory for tomorrow. Notice our temperatures and heat index values here the rest of the evening tonight, staying above 100 until probably close to 7, 8 o'clock here. But it's still, even after sunset, it could still feel like the low 90s outside, and we could even have those heat index values reaching the upper 80s overnight tonight. So what to expect? Not much has changed. Warm and humid overnight tonight. Thursday, we are staying hot and humid again on the way tomorrow. Some of us reaching the mid-90s for highs, I think, tomorrow. This weekend, the 70s. Boy, it'll be nice when the 70s return this upcoming weekend. Temperatures tonight will stay lower 80s, I think, in some spots until about to the early morning hours Thursday. We'll drop down into the upper 70s for those overnight lows tonight. Tomorrow, high temperatures into the upper 80s and some mid-90s in a couple spots on Thursday. We are tracking the chance maybe a couple little stray thunderstorms start to move in early on Friday morning. That's something that we'll have to keep a close eye on as we look towards early Friday. Confidence pretty low in our overall rain chance, but that's pretty much all we'll see in the next about 5 to 7 days. Temperatures tonight, 74 for the overnight low. Wind out of the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. High temperatures tomorrow. Notice a little cooler for those of us north of I-90. Rochester, Dodge Center, Red Wing, Owatonna, all in the low 90s tomorrow. I think we could hit the mid-90s in northern Iowa. So for tomorrow, our alerts, we have that excessive heat warning still in place. Several of our southeast Minnesota counties and all of northeast Iowa. Heat advisory will be in effect for Rochester and areas in light orange. Because notice our heat index values in Rochester tomorrow, maybe mid-90s, but then we look south of I-90 for northern Iowa, getting closer to about 105 to maybe 110 in Charles City for tomorrow. 7-day forecast, 85 for the high on Friday. We'll see the chance for a couple of stray storms early in the morning, and then we have a nice stretch of weather. We're looking at the 70s Saturday through Wednesday. That'll do it for your forecast. We'll be right back after this.
Minnesota Vikings preseason football is back. Watch all the games on this.
Here's what we're working on right now. Our Chinese purchases of American land, a security threat, the land battle happening in the Great Plains. Also after scores of infant deaths, developing new recommendations over the use of nursing pillows when we see you tonight.
The temperature continues to soar this summer, and as coaches and athletes prepare for the upcoming season, health experts are sending out a warning. The heat and humidity can be especially hard on young players. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more from a Mayo Clinic doctor on how to keep student athletes safe.
As the temperature rises, so does the danger, especially for young athletes training outside for the upcoming season.
These are potential life-threatening illnesses that, if aren't treated appropriately, can lead to catastrophic dangers.
Heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke can all strike when it's hot out. That's why everyone, from coaches to parents and athletes, needs to be aware of the danger signs, says Dr. Anna Chabra with Mayo Clinic.
People get disoriented, people get dizzy and have weakness, unusual behavior, headaches, vomiting, and so those are some of the signs you see.
Chabra says to also avoid scheduling practices and workouts when it's hottest out. Make sure everyone stays well hydrated before, during, and after practice. Use electrolytes to help rehydrate, but avoid caffeine, alcohol, and sugary drinks that can cause dehydration. Wear lightweight, loose-fitting, light-colored clothing. Have shade and cooling stations, and take it slow.
We want to increase intensity and duration of athletic activities over the course of 7 to 10 days. And that's really important for your bodies to get used to the heat.
Chabra says many times people don't think they need to stretch and warm up when it's hot out, but he says that's how players can get hurt.
So I don't think the weather should change your warm-up routine. So that's something that's completely separate to try to protect our athletes.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
The doctor says it's also important to educate athletes to notice the red flags of heat-related illness, not only in themselves, but also with their teammates. We'll be right back.
This hot, Roger.
The love between a father and son on display as a dad returns home from a year-long deployment. The surprise reunion happened last week on the first day of school in Ohio.
Perry Chronister is a sergeant in the Ohio Army National Guard and was deployed to the Middle East for a year, leaving his 7-year-old son Eli behind. So when he got back home, he decided to surprise him on his first day of school, getting some help from the staff at DeWitt Elementary. Perry says he wasn't able to talk to his son regularly, missing Christmas and Eli's birthday.
It's been a long year, and I'm just so happy to be back and with my buddy.
A memory they'll certainly cherish for many years to come.
I always like those.
Oh my gosh, always, always. Yeah, my TikTok is loaded with those.
Loaded with those.
Fantastic. And on the first day of school, no less.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't feel like back to school time.
No, it doesn't, because summer is in full force here across the upper Midwest. We still have a first alert day in place for tomorrow. So the rest of the night tonight, excessive heat warning. Tomorrow for Rochester and some of our southern Minnesota counties, we have a heat advisory in effect. Everyone else, especially if you're south of I-90, another excessive heat warning in effect tomorrow. Maybe a couple stray storms early Friday morning. Don't get your hopes up with that, but that's in the forecast as of now. And then this weekend, beautiful. We're back to the mid-70s by Saturday.
And we'll all